Last episode, I built the Mall 2.0, and inside this beautiful building contains the blueprints that allow us to craft just about anything we could ever want to make from Create. Or honestly, just about anything from Create and or its add-ons, or even anything from vanilla Minecraft, given that we just simply have the main resources that allow us to craft those things. But now I've encountered my first two major problems. One is I need a bigger storage system. Not a storage system for the mall itself, but a storage system for me. So that way I have space for future projects and such, and that's going to take place in the main storage lounge. But I also want to be able to sell things, which means that today I also want to start the production of our actual shop, where we're going to sell things from our mall. Now, just as a quick reminder, mall doesn't mean mall as in shopping mall, it means mall as in the make all building. And hopefully we'll have the ability to sell all. Before I do all of that, I really got to get that storage set up, and I'm thinking we can do storage on main level 3, which is going to be a beautiful spot, I think, to house a ton of vertical vaults. But here's the thing, with Create, it can be kind of difficult to set up a storage system with multiple vaults. What if I told you I have devised a solution that makes this process honestly kind of easy and repeatable? And it doesn't rely on belts or anything like that, just simply the chains and the frogs. Before we get into the advanced logistics that's going to make all of this work, well, we first need access to our main vault here, just the one starting vault. And as much as I would love to use my current system, it's not going to work with the Frogports. But I will say it is going to be very similar to my standard storage system that just utilizes one vault, but with a few subtle changes. Now, the biggest hurdle to setting up the storage and keeping it in a slim form factor is the fact that packagers, well, if you're going to use a frog, the frog has to go on top of the packager. One day we'll have sideways frogs that can just go in any direction. But until then, 'tis must be done this way. And so with Create, I like to work backwards, and that means that I am going to have a barrel right here. This is going to be my output barrel. If I request something, I want the ingredients to go into here. And the way I'm going to do that is quite simply with a single packager going directly into it and a Frogport that is linked up to a chain. And this Frogport is going to receive an address. And I'm going to name this Storage Main. Now, we could do some fancy stuff down the road with changing its name, but for right now, Storage Main is what I'm going to call it, not to be confused with regular main. Perfect. I have a way of fetching ingredients and sending them into a container. But what if I want to send items inside of this vault? Well, it's going to be very similar to what we have used in our other system, where I'm going to place a container right here, and then we want a packager to pull the ingredients out. We want to use a chute to then send that down and just simply send that into the vault into another packager to unpackage the things. Then we can't forget to give this a redstone signal to make sure it just pulls everything that goes into this barrel. So we're doing it. We're almost there, and we're almost done with this changed system that utilizes Frogports. Now what we're going to need to do is we need to have something to link our stock ticker to. So we are going to need a packager that can see the contents of the inventory and then also send packages out. And the way that I want to handle that, well, is by placing another packager up top here. This is going to be clicked onto the vault, and then we are going to need a Frogport that is connected to our chain, preferably in a location that is directly before this one, so that way they go right into each other. That'll make it a whole lot faster. And then this is just going to be set to send packages only. Then what's going to allow this to read is going to be a stock link that is placed on this. And this is where we are going to link our stock ticker. So very straightforward. All of this is kind of working for us. We can place the stock ticker right here. And then finally, our blaze burner goes directly in front, and this allows us to see our inventory. And then finally, to make this a little bit easier, we can put a crafting table at the bottom, so that way we have a nice little crafting area. At this point, we're almost ready to go. The only thing left to do is whenever we request an item, well, we're going to have to use our stock ticker to actually label the packages that get sent out. And this is something that you don't normally interact with my other setup. But to be able to make this work, all we have to do is copy the name of Storage Main. So we'll select the whole thing, copy it, and then inside of the package address area, we just paste in Storage Main, and then never worry about it again. In simple terms, what doing that is going to do is whenever this does request an item, it's going to tell our stock link what to label the package. And in this case, it's going to label it the same as our frog here, which is storage main, which will then send it out. And this frog is looking for a package that is addressed like that. And then it is going to immediately pull it off. It's going to put it into the packager, depackage it into the barrel. And this is really interesting to watch. So if I request out some industrial iron, we'll notice that it gets sent out and immediately pulled in. And there we go. We have our ingredients. And then I want to send items back into my vault. I just place them in here and they just simply get packaged and then unpackaged back into the vault. And yes, I love to explain this over and over again. And that's because instead of using other methods to send items in, this packager is incredibly quick. As you got to keep in mind, it can pull up to 9 stacks in one single pass. Nothing else can do that. Nothing else. You have no other options that can pull out things that quickly. And that conveniently, mind you. So using hoppers and things like this for this system is just impractical. Aha, so this is all well and good, but how do we add other storage vaults to this network? Well, I mean, first thing you need is more vaults, and thankfully I had plenty built up as I went ahead and had it store or keep in stock 18 stacks of vaults. Since these are used quite a bit by multiple people, I wanted to make sure I had enough, including for myself. And so I've set these all up, and to be able to set a max size vault, it requires 81 item vaults, which is going to be a stack in 17. And now because we have the visual vaults mod, well, we can stack these up vertically, which I do want to convert these all into vertical vaults, and they are going to fit in here much, much nicer. But you know what? I don't want to just stick with the basic blue. I think I kind of want these to fade. I want them to start with like white vaults that are right next to this, then do light gray and then gray vaults. I think that'll be kind of a cool transition in here. And you know what? I might even color some of my Frogports, since we can have colored Frogports also and kind of have those match the containers. Just need to pop it over here, drop down in all of my item vaults. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to do white, light gray, and then dark gray, I think. Oh, and then one surprise container in the back that's going to be just bright orange. And I love that Eggs set all of this up, like all of the different dyes for us to just come over here and use. I know last season we had the Diomat, but still, this is really nice until we have something similar set up maybe in the shopping district. By the way, here's the bright orange vault that I was talking about. Oh, look at this thing. So all of the vaults are in. Beautiful. But now is for the challenging part. We have to figure out a logistics system that allows us to distribute items across all of these vaults, with the goal being to fill the vaults that are closest to the main vault, which is also closest to this, and then go to the next set, and then the next set. And then finally, this orange vault in the back will be the final vault that items could potentially fill up into. And if they do fill up, well, then a warning should sound. With the idea in mind, it's now time to put it into practice. The first part, detecting if this vault is full. And if it's full, we can detect that with a threshold switch and be able to send a redstone signal. And by sending a redstone signal, it will power a packager, which is going to be pretty important. You notice that the package just got pulled out because of the current settings. Now for the threshold settings, there's a few things we need to worry about. I want to max out the stacks and then bring this down 18 stacks, or the equivalent to 2 packages worth of item stacks, which a package can hold 9 stacks of items, by the way. And so when this vault does fill up and it gets all the way to being almost completely filled, this is going to send a redstone signal, which is then going to power this packager. And this is the key point. When this does get a redstone signal, we can define where this is going to go. And so I called this storage main, but I'm going to send this to my storages that are around. So I'm going to call it storage_1, which is going to be its next destination. So once filled, then it will send a redstone signal, and then we just need a frog up here for it to send it onto a chain. And this is where I want to be specific. I want this vault to be the next one it sends to, so I'm going to follow the chain line, which is right here, which is leading in that direction. And that way it will send, yes, through the vault, but we're making it kind of compact here. It's going to send it through the vault onto the chain, and then we need this vault to collect those items. Frog that's going to be doing the collecting, I'm going to have it collect from the left-hand side and then make the right-hand side the one that sends in the future. But yes, I want to make sure on the same chain line that I pull this into, we label this storage _1, as this is going to be the frog that then picks up the items and then it stores it into this vault. Now, ultimately, we are going to have items that need to make its way back into this burner. And so this is where the next step is going to take place. That is making sure that all of our vaults are accessible via our ticker. To do this, we just need to make sure they are all linked to the same network. And to do this, we right click on an existing stock link, that is this network right here, and we add this to a new location. For example, this packager right here, which is just connected to it. All we have to do is place this on here, and we now have a new location and a new vault that can be seen. And then also, if an item happens to be in that vault and we request it, this will then trigger those items to be sent out and will be labeled storage main, which should end up back into this Frogport. To make this super clean, I'm going to connect this frog also up to the cable that should make its way. And remember, this is a send only package. The only thing left to do is to essentially rinse and repeat. So all I have to do now to make sure this stays continuous is make sure to take an exact copy of this threshold, which, by the way, I wish there was a good way to copy the settings. The clipboard unfortunately does not do what you think it would do. When you copy the settings, which you just did, and paste them into this, it doesn't actually copy the information inside. So I still have to go through and unfortunately manually scroll wheel, and this is as fast as I can, holding down Control and Shift at the same time, which is supposed to make it significantly faster. But yes, it is still pretty slow getting that scroll all the way up. Now, also something else I noticed, which is kind of weird while doing this, this says its max size is like 1,618, while this one says its max size is 1,620. That seems kind of odd. Either way, I'll be sticking with these values on all of them. So making sure 1600 is just kind of where it's at for now. And if I have to adjust this in the future, the only thing I would need to do is bring that upper threshold down. And of course, this to match one stack below that value. And then again, placing a sign on here and storage _2 in this case, because we're going to be sending to the next one in the line. And then I'm going to run this over here. This is going to be storage 2, and then I'm going to run it back to this one, which will end up being storage 3, and so on and so forth. Storage 4, and then we'll have this one be storage 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way up until we get to technically storage 14, I believe. Or 13, which will be this vault back here. So I've got all of the Frogports in. Now I've just got to label everything. And because I'm doing it in this really wonky way where I'm jumping from one to another, I've just essentially made it harder on myself, but it's still going to look cool. And I think the easiest way to handle this is just to copy the section where it says storage 1. And then I go over to this frog, which is storage 2. And then I know the next frog that it's going to be, which is going to be storage 3. And then I'll label that, and then just keep running to all of them. And then I got to do the signs next. And storage 13, which will ultimately be our final storage vault. Now I've just got to go to each of our sender frogs. And for example, this is sending to storage 2. And so I'll jump over here, and then this one should be sending to storage 3. And keep repeating this process. And finally, after running all of the signs back and forth, we get to our final storage, which is storage 13, which should send to this one right over here. So I think this is just about everything that is going to be needed in order for us to have a continuous storage, well, up until it reaches that vault. But still, this is a significant amount of storage. So you know what? Let's test this. Let's pull out these bricks, for example, and then this is going to send it to our frog, and we can take this package out, and let's just test it in any of these vaults. For example, I'm going to put it into this vault right over here. So this would be the frog that receives the package that is now inside of this vault. And so over here, we should still see that those bricks exist, and we can now request to storage main. That is then going to send it out on the line, and then our main frog has now picked that package up, and well, it normally would send it into this packager. Perfect. And now we have our bricks, and then I can put it back in the main storage vault, which will then continue to cascade through each vault if need be. And so I tell you, if this isn't the ultimate storage solution, I don't know what is. Like, you could just infinitely scale this, and you should never end up with a situation where a frog ends up with more packages than it can technically send into a vault. Because like I said, I set those thresholds to make sure that it can always send a package in, and that a new package will be sent out and transferred into another area if it can handle it. Well, that is until this back here gets filled up. And if it does get filled up, I essentially want to sound a warning. That warning is going to be very simple. We have a threshold switch right here that is checking the internals of the vault from the bottom side. And what I want this to do is I want it to send a solid redstone signal to this pulse timer to turn the pulse timer off. And then when it does reach that capacity, I want it to let off of the redstone signal so that way this will start pulsing. And what I'm going to set this to is a note block that is on top of soul sand. So it's the cowbell. So we're giving it more cowbell, and I'm going to set it to a C. So it's just going to constantly pulse just like this to let me know that, hey, this is filled up. So to make it stop, so it doesn't continue to do that, we'll invert this signal so that way it works in reverse. So when this does get to this level, the redstone signal will come off, and then this will start pulsing going, hey, there's kind of a problem here. We have too many items that are inside of this residual vault. But keep in mind, if this system did fill up to that full, I mean, we have bigger issues. And hopefully we'll never have to worry about this, because there are 14 full-size vaults here, which equate to about 22.6 thousand. By the way, 1,000 stacks, item stacks this can hold. And technically it can hold like 1.4 million items. So for the most part, I don't think I'll be worrying about storage too much. Now, you know what? I kind of would like to see like the total usage on our vault. And I know display boards can do this. I just typically don't find time to make display boards. But you know what? For our main storage, it wouldn't be bad to have a board like right here that kind of shows all of the things inside of our vaults. Maybe it can do a compare and contrast. I really don't know, as I've never really played with it all that much. I think the hardest part about using display boards is simply getting the rotational energy up to the board. But we do have this little bit of space right here that I can place in a chain conveyor, connect it up, and then we just have to carry the rotation up through here and around. So toss on a cog and this whole thing is spinning. Now on the topic of display boards, after a little bit of time, I did go ahead and add 2 sides because I did realize things are going to work a little bit different here, because I need a display link on every single one of these threshold switches. We can't apply them to the stock link and be able to see the entirety of the network, unfortunately. So this means if I want to see the contents of main here, I am going to have to place this in after selecting my position, right? We select that we want this signboard to be what it's linked to. We plop one over here, and then we just right click it onto the display link. Then we can see container fill, and then we also have percent and or progress bar. Unfortunately, progress bar seems a little bit odd as it just like takes up the entirety of the thing, and I'm unsure how this actually like sits in the entirety of the system, unless we have like multiple that are displaying on the same thing, like a percentage and this. But we can choose what line. So for example, I want this on line 2. And then I want this to be a percent, and we can say main vault, and we can preface what we want beforehand with a space, and then it should give us the percentage after that. So we see main vault, and then we have the percentage, which is supposed to be displaying, but I guess there's just not enough signboard for it. So there we go. For example, I now set this to main instead, and it's just saying main and then also the 3%. I think the hardest part about all of this is just coming up with a way that we can name this and then also display the fill level of every single one of these vaults. I wonder if the word storage will fit without kind of breaking this whole thing. You know what, after all of that deliberation, I think I am going to stick with vault just like this. And so we'll have them all identified as vault 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, for example, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 over here. And then we'll have vault main, and then we'll also have vault end. And to make this super easy, I also went ahead and auto-crafted these things. Now, also on the topic of naming, if we have a clipboard, we can say main storage. And this, I believe, we can just click onto a current line, and then we could have that take on that information. And so this allows us to add dividers, for example, stuff like this, where we can have main storage and then have these divider lines or whatever character we plan on using. Some characters, though, I find don't work too well, but for the most part, things work. So there we go. I've started to get all of this stuff assigned. I do want the end vault to be dyed this color. We can dye it. It doesn't actually consume our dyes. Main vault, I want to be dyed this color. And then the rest of these, I probably want to associate, I think, with their color dyes that they are. I think this is going to work out perfect. So this one will be light gray, and then finally we'll have gray, which will be these down here. And you know, overall, I think that looks really nice and clean. The only other thing that I ended up doing for this system is all of my intake frogs, I actually clicked on the engineer's goggles, so that way they all have their eyes protected from incoming packages. I might actually do this for all of my Frogports, making all incoming frogs look like they have aviator goggles. With the froggies now goggled up, I think it might be time to actually make some use of this vault and add some really cool modules to it. Because it's on this chain line, we can do all kinds of stuff with this storage. One of those things is automatic loaders and unloaders. And over here, this is probably going to be a loader, and then on this side, I'm going to have a unloader. And this is how I'll probably end up setting modular vaults up. These vaults are able to be picked up and taken with me. All I have to do is glue it together, turn it into a contraption, and use a card assembler to pick the thing up. Okay, so now what do I mean by automatically load the thing? This is going to be one of the more complicated things that we can do. Let's say, for example, we have ourselves a packager that is going onto this. Well, we can use our frog to actually request things out that we want and have it automatically sent into the packager here. And I'll tell you, this setup is going to be incredibly easy. Because this isn't glued to our contraption, all we have to do is make sure that this is pointing into where a vault will be, and then set our frog, and we can call this loader, like that. And that's all we need. Now, anytime that we want to send a particular product into this, we can do that with a singular factory gauge. This is going to be pretty incredible. So to do this, I can place the factory gauge on there after linking it to the main system. And let's say I have, dirt in here, and I want dirt to be sent into that vault. Let's say I have a whole bunch that I really want to get in here. Okay, well, I'll place dirt inside of this, select loader as our package destination, and then all I have to do is, crank this bad boy all the way up. And what this should do is start calling requests that are going to make its way into this frog to then be sent into here. And look at that, we're sending tons of product into that. And then when we're done, all we have to do is simply clear what we don't want, and this is ready to go for another product we can place in. This makes sending bulk items to our storage so much easier. But now, what if I've gone on an expedition and I've collected a bunch of blocks and I want to send them to my storage? Well, that's actually way easier. We just need to pick this up, and then I can pick the entire storage vault up with it. Perfect. And I've left these indicators here so that way I know exactly where to place this. Otherwise, we could override some blocks. And then I'm just going to put it over here. This is going to be where my unloader area is going to be. Also, I probably want to name this contraption. This is just going to be called Porto-Storage. It doesn't get any better than that. Porto-Storage. Yes, so we'll place this over here. That's going to load in, and then what I want to do is just create a simple unloader. So we'll use a packager here, place the packager on the side, and we are going to need a sign, and the sign destination is literally just going to be storage main. So yes, we'll have this identified on the side, so that way when we give this a solid redstone signal, like so, it will pull the package out, label it storage main, and then we just need to place it onto the belt for our main storage to pick it up. So yes, just a simple Frogport is all that is needed for this. And I'm thinking, yeah, we can place it right here just to send it back down the line. And there it went. It sent a package, there it goes, and it made it all the way over here and has now been sent in. So to trigger this, all of the contents of this, all this dirt, we just turn this on, and then everything from that vault will get unloaded and just simply sent back into main storage, and everything will just cascade through just over and over again if this storage happens to fill up. Actually, completely got that wrong on this one. Instead of it going to the main storage frog right here, which actually would just hold it because it's going to send it into this barrel, not actually into the vault. Yes, I created a new frog. So we have storage main in, and that is linked to this frog right here. Or at least that's where the frog's going to be for now. Whenever I flip this lever, That should then get taken out and then actually stored into the vault correctly. And because this can send up to 9 stacks of items at a time, this is incredibly fast. Now, another awesome feature of this is, yes, I can pick this whole thing back up. And for example, if I'm also trying to load over here, well, instead of using this method for loading, we can just request items out, but change the name down here to loader. And so long as we change the address to loader, it'll just automatically, when we pull things out, send it to our vault. So there's just a lot of cool options and a lot of cool things that you can do with storages with the Create mod. It is kind of wild, all of the things that are possible. And I know a lot of times you'll just see those spinny farms and you'll see stuff like that and cool moving contraptions, but man, the real logistics system is just completely insane. It is just so good. And there's so many things that you can do with it. I think at this point, my storage system is ready to rock and roll and ready to be put to the test. And also, now that we have our loader and unloader, I can start to gather more blocks from within the world. And I can even transfer the contents of my drill into this vault, for example. So this leads me to that other problem that I mentioned earlier. Yes, selling all of the goods that we're producing. And there's going to be a lot of things to sell and also a lot of things to set up autocrafts for, as all of the things that you just seen there are going to be things that I want to potentially sell. And I mean, I've started to lay out the stalls, but there's going to be a lot of decoration that's going to be needed. As of right now, if I was to sell stuff on every single one of these platforms, there's about 120 platforms here, which is pretty good and I think encompasses everything that I want to sell for now. But I'm sure we're going to need way more than that as time moves on. But boy, do I have plans, because I want this upper room to feel fancy. I want it to feel adorned. I want it to feel completely filled to the brim with clutter, almost as if you're playing D&D and you've went into a merchant shop and that merchant has been there for years. So many big plans. Speaking of big plans, you know what? I should kind of show Throwlash some of my plans. He just popped on and I would really like to see what he thinks about the storage. How's it going? Well, welcome. By the way, want some egg sandwiches?
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, I love food. Hey, listen, dude. Respectfully, and I want to stress this respectfully. Holy crap.
It's a lot. It's a lot to look at.
The sign is perfect too, dude.
I wanted it to be like, wow, when you look at it, and I'm hoping I pulled it off.
Dude, I saw a picture and picture was like, oh, dude, that's dope. And then I came over Beardstone's build over here and I was like, whoa. It's awesome.
It's pretty grand when you look at it, but the inside's better. But I wanted you to check out the storage solution because I know everybody struggles with storage. But yeah, I definitely have been working on a plan for storage. Okay.
I love your slimy boots, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I also have slimy helmet.
Ah, there you go. You stick the ceiling, right?
Yes, and I have used it because I don't have a jetpack or an Elytra.
Oh, you mean like this? Like this?
Yeah.
Right?
Why does everybody? But this is the grand entrance. It's not super grand.
Oh my gosh.
This time, no spinny door. You don't have to worry about a spinny door.
Good, because I get caught in that all the time.
And then also, I left a hole up in the very top, so that way you can actually fly into the cells area.
Oh.
Once I'm selling stuff, because I'm not even selling stuff yet.
You're a smart feller. Did you know that?
Fart smeller. I'm a what? What in the world?
It's my accent.
Oh, okay. This is the main storage logistics hub. And I want to get
vertical vaults. Yeah.
I want to get your thoughts on the way that I'm handling package distribution. The way that this is functioning, I wonder if you can actually figure it out. I wonder if you can figure it out. Can you scope out how this would technically distribute items across all of these vaults?
Storage 2. So each one just has a number here. All right. Oh, okay. So in one of them, that's a display link. Oh, okay, that's just a display link. All right, never mind.
The other side might help you.
Storage 7. Oh, so I'm assuming when this thing fills up enough, it triggers this packager and then sends things out?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's dope, dude.
And then that leads into the next vault. And then the next vault also will do the same thing and trigger the same feature. Dude. Until ultimately it ends up back here. Got to sneak back here. into the big orange vault, which is the end vault. But you can extend this infinitely if you wanted to. And then it sets off an alarm.
Oh, nice.
If this one
Just in
happens to
case.
fill up, yes. I don't want to void things, but I wanted to set the alarm off, and I chose a cowbell.
Listen, everybody needs more cowbell. That's
Exactly.
for sure.
I haven't seen your area.
It's small. You want to check it out?
That's a weird way to word that, but sure. Yes, yes, I do.
I'm very self-aware. Yeah, me over here, it's pretty small. I'm just, getting the basics through. I just set up a workshop, but yeah, I'm going to be a dwarf this season. We're going to live underground.
Underground. There's a lot of people living underground. The heck?
Yeah.
Is that
I don't know how
evil bunny?
I don't know how I actually caught this thing, dude.
Is it evil? It's got red eyes.
No, it hasn't killed me yet, but it does stare at me a lot.
That's scary.
He's kind of freaky looking.
Oh, there's a horse.
There's a horse. Don't look at whose it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you don't worry about it, then it's not a problem.
Yeah. I have no idea. I don't know what all the shenanigans that are going on. I've been kind of kept to myself in a secluded area on the south side of Spawn.
But I mean, it's been working, obviously.
I turn around and I'm like hearing of stories of like buildings being exploded and people thieving and then Beardstone running around with a knife for some reason, and I'm like, what is happening?
Speaking of, and I'll be a little imposing. No, I'll put that away. I heard that you were going around killing donkeys.
No.
So I heard a little.
I killed a donkey.
Okay.
It looked at me funny at the start.
They do that, and then they laugh at you a little bit.
Yeah. It looked at me and then went hee-haw, and I was like, that's not. Did I look funny? Like, and then I murdered it. I did. Right. I seen the sign, and I did ask Beardstone, and he just denied everything.
That sounds like something a pirate would do. I'm not gonna lie.
And I proceeded to ask, and I was like, why would you steal a donkey? And I kept pressing him, but he kept deflecting. And I was like, why would anybody even want to steal a donkey? Like, what are they even useful for? And he goes storage, and I thought that was really suspicious.
Storage? I mean, yeah, you can put chests on.
Yeah, and I was like, I didn't even think about that. So like, he knew that though.
All right, so he's got reasons, and that pirate flag is not helping his case.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Although
thinking.
it does look really good. He did do a great job with it.
Yeah,
but
it is fantastic. All right, well, I'm gonna get out of your hair.
Yeah, no worries, bud.
And then the pirate's on. You might want to ask him about your donkey.
Oh yeah, I got kids coming home soon, but I can go bother them. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll pop out of here. Thanks for the review.
Later,
bye. Do 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 do. Do?
I hear voices.
So. Hello.
Hello. Oh, Jesus.
Hello. Would you happen to have spare elytras? I've heard through the grapevine that you may or may not have.
I mean, there's a possibility that I may be able to part with an elytra. Oh, I mean, I don't have multiple spare, but I certainly have elytra. Are you trying to bribe me with an egg sandwich?
Maybe. Is it working?
Best I've got is ratatouille, I'm afraid.
Oh, were you vegetarian?
At the moment, yeah. I haven't got around to farming the meat yet. I had to turn my farms off. They were too productive.
I feel rude for not being able to eat this right now.
All right, well, how many diamonds do you want to temporarily give me before I spend them in your mall? I mean, let's be honest, Chosen.
Yeah.
That is probably the way this is going to go. I've not even been over there yet because I know your episode on it hasn't come out yet. So I'm doing my best not to go and infiltrate it too soon,
Oh, no. Yeah, there's not even anything for sell just yet. I'm working
I know, but I just really want to know have a poke around,
I have 59 diamonds on me.
I mean, I'd never charge that many, Chosen.
No?
Give me 58 and you've got a deal.
It would be I feel like elytra's way worth that. In time? Holy smokes.
Oh, okay, fine. I mean, not 58, 59 then.
Yeah,
Fine.
59.
Fine. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
If I
yeah,
had
no,
more, I'll give you more.
No, that's fine. They're all going to come back to you eventually anyway, no doubt. So.
Oh my goodness, there's an Elytra.
It might be slightly damaged. It is used.
Yeah, that's fine.
But
I'm happy with that.
you're only going to turn it into a jetpack anyway, aren't you?
I've got wings. No, it's going to be turned into wings.
Wings?
Yeah. What am I going to use a jetpack for?
It makes building so much easier, Chosen.
Well, I'm done building. I could have used that like 3 days ago.
True.
Uh-oh.
Well, I think it's time I leave.
Yep. All right.
Doodles.
Good chatting. Bye. I mean, come on. Look at this. I now have an Elytra. But here's the question. Should I turn the Elytra into a jetpack? Or should I leave it in Elytra and go farm more Elytras? You can always leave a comment down below letting me know what I should do. Also, if you have suggestions on prices for things that I should sell, particularly in the andesite, copper, and brass categories, that would be really helpful. I am thinking of selling things rather cheap, keeping it on the cheap side because I want people to be able to buy the things and not worry so much about how many diamonds it's going to take to buy it, and then buy it in bulk and then build really cool things. That's ultimately the goal of them all. So now if you enjoyed today's episode and you learned something new, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already and give this video guys a huge thumbs up. And now with that, it's time for me to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. I am pretty happy with all of that. Not only did I get to take an Elytra from Beardstone, yes, I also got to hang out with Thrash, which I haven't gotten to do. It was very nice. And that amazing things is going to go out to Nano. Thank you so much for your amazing support in choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and supporting my content in one of the best ways possible. Thank you so very much. And guys, I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. And as always, thanks for watching.